Alright, so as you see, I am in full Lolita. In fact, I am in my what is known as military Lolita because I have a hill that I'm gonna have to die on right now. And as Catherine the Great rode into battle to usurp her husband because he was a douchebag, she geared up in military clothing. I'm geared up in my military clothing because I gotta gear up because something happened on International Lolita Day, which I wasn't even dressed up for, that I feel like I have to address. So, last night, or yesterday afternoon, a friend of mine who's in our community posted a group photo to, it was like, I guess for everybody's timeline, but because I was tagged in it, I have the option to hide it or make it public. I chose to make it public because it is no secret that I am a Lolita. I don't keep it a secret. It's just something that's a part of my personality, part of who I am. So that is what's happening and that is where it is. So it was fine up until someone who is interrelated, not by blood, but related to my husband, popped up and asked a very rude question. Basically looked at our photo and was like, are any of these people in a relationship? And at first I was going to just write it off like, okay, she's an older person. She's not in the know, but whatever. I looked down because I think at the time I was either playing games on my phone or playing games on my computer, on my laptop. And either way, I was just like, whatever, I don't care. I'll deal with it later. So, and I thought for like a split second about dealing with it, but I was just like, I'll deal with it later. So it wasn't even 2 minutes after I finished the one little mini game that I was playing, did I go back and like it's starting where people were insulted and incensed, and I'm like, okay, I gotta deal with this immediately. So I hid the comment, and then I started getting the questions of who is this person to you, and what do they mean, like, and I can understand because that's a rude fucking question. And I didn't mince words. It was a rude question. Now, I did mince them a little bit when I was like, okay, I hid the comment was what I did. And I will speak to this person and let them know why what they said wasn't nice, which is exactly what I said. And let me be the one to handle this. So, because I know what happens once you insult a Lolita, it's pretty much war till the end of time. So I'm a little more pragmatic than that. I'll try to get with the person personally and just be like, hey, what you said wasn't cool. Excuse me, which is exactly what I did. I sent them a private message. It was like, hey, what you said was rather incendiary and insulting. And I can't remember exactly what I said, but it was basically what you said was rather insulting and you hurt some people's feelings. So if you have questions about what we're doing, please reach out to me and I can try to do my best to answer them. Because I didn't tell her at that point I had been in, yes, the person was a female. I didn't tell her at that point that I had been into Lolita since for 20 plus years. Almost, shit, it'll actually be 20 years in 2022. It'll be 20 years since I got into Lolita. So that's a long ass time. So it's been 18 years. So Jesus. Good God. Sorry, that was just a contemplative thing for me. So we had our discussion and nothing was solved. Unfortunately, the person involved is just dug in to their argument that Lolita is the worst human possible thing you can do. And it got me to thinking, I need to call my mother and thank her for not being judgmental and just being cruel and mean. Sorry about all this screwing. You hear all that noise in the back. My husband is actually making our back porch furniture. But story for another day. But and I just apologize for the noise. But I need to call my mother and thank her, which I did. I was talking to my best friend at the time, but I need to call my mother again and just reiterate how grateful I am to her for not being judgy and letting me be who I want to be and do the things that I like to do. So, and it's not to say that my mother doesn't care, because she worries. I am 42 years old, and my mother, who just recently turned 65, is still worried about my safety, and I'm 42 years old, especially my safety when I'm in Lolita. So it's a concern for being a parent, and I get that, and I recognize that, and I understand that, but you can't live your life in fear. So, but that got me to thinking I need to call my mother, and two, what to do when handling judgments and harsh criticisms. So, and I'm not saying stuff like constructive criticism. You want, like, how does this outfit look? Should I buy this? That's not what I'm saying. And that's like a whole other topic in and of itself. I'm talking about when people are just judgy about you wearing Lolita. So I have pretty much I have a 3.25 page thing that I'm going to go through because I think this needs to be addressed. So this might be pretty long, and you know I don't edit shit, so strap in because it's going to get to be a long time. So I did my preface why I'm talking about this situation and how I handled it. Like I said, I handled it the best I could, and pretty much at the end of that discussion, it was a agree to disagree. And that's literally what I sent her in my last thing. And I'm not going to get into how bad it devolved, because it devolved really badly. And the good thing I can say is, at least I never got upset. You ever get a message from somebody and you're messaging somebody and you can tell by what they're saying that their arguments are making less and less sense and that they're getting real heated? She was getting real heated about the situation, and she was at like a 12. Meanwhile, I'm at a good 4, and I was just more like, okay, whatever, than, steam shooting out of my ears mad. 2 reasons. It's just my personality. I save my vitriol and ire for situations that need to be, need vigor and passion. And 2, I hate to say this, I care enough about myself not to let myself get that pissed off. And I used to be such an angry young woman. That girl is just gone. She moved out. She moved to, like, I don't know, Outer Mongolia, and that's where she lives now. But super adult Oddshot is a way more chill, so, which is actually a good thing, because you can't be at a 12 for the rest of your life. So, situation 1 I have on this outline: Lolita and self-esteem. Now, you have heard me say, especially in recent days, that this is not a fashion for the weak, the shrieking violet, like, I don't know. If you do not have what they call online a shiny fucking spine, if you don't have a shiny spine, don't do it. Don't do it, because you're not going to be happy, because by wearing Lolita, you are bringing a lot of attention to yourself by basically peacocking. And there's nothing wrong with peacocking. You want to feel good and look good, and I think I look goddamn amazing in every scrap of Lolita that I own, so I don't want to hear it. But it's one of those things, you got to be tough, because you are going to get judgment. I mean, I hate to say, probably a pretty fair clip of you probably get judgment from the people you love, from like family members. She's not a blood relative. She's basically a surrogate parent to my husband, but she has been nice to me in the past, and I'm not going to sit there and just totally denounce her as a human being. She is entitled to her opinions, no matter how flawed they may be. And I'm entitled to mine, and I have to respect that I'm not going to win her over on this particular topic. So that's one of the things you got to get comfortable with. However, comfort starts within. If you are not comfortable with yourself, you feel like you can't handle too much scrutiny, my advice to you is don't do it, because you're going to get a lot of weirdness. And you have to be in a place mentally to be able to deal with said weirdness. So, self-esteem starts, it's in the title, with oneself. So, no one else can give that to you. So, building a scene for your self-confidence in such a unique fashion, just did that. So, under that is to thine own self be true. Seriously, if this is something that you love and you know you can handle, and I think you know you can handle the scrutiny that you'll face, do it with all the vigor and gusto on the planet. So that's my advice for that. Remember that everybody has a learning curve, especially when you're new in the fashion. You are going to make mistakes. Somebody calls you an Ida, just ignore them because they just have a shitty attitude. Yeah, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to have a cord that may or may not be the right chord for what's going on. But you gotta learn. You only really truly learn, grow, and evolve and become a beautiful butterfly by making mistakes. Nobody just busts out let me rephrase that. Very few people bust out in a full, like, Baby the Star Shine Bright chord, Innocent World chord, Angelic Pretty chord. Nobody breaks out their first time out the gate in full regalia, at least not without a heavy fucking price tag. So you got to be comfortable with making mistakes. Take constructive criticism. People that's telling you, instead of wearing this weird headbow with this creepy lace and it's got like all these wild patterns on it, why don't you just do a simple headbow and keep it moving? Or, you know, you bought something from Milano and you didn't realize that it was Milano, and it's just not constructed well or right or whatever, and just take that and learn from your mistakes. Or you bought something that somebody said was Angelic Pretty, but it was a replica, and you honest to God, it's my first day, I didn't know. Just take those instances and learn from them and learn how to avoid them so you don't face undue harsh criticism. Anybody that's being unjustly cruel, just their advice is not constructive, it's destructive, and you got to phase that noise out, because that's all it is noise. It's designed to keep you out of the fashion, because you're going to run into a lot of assholes in this fashion. So be kind to yourself, celebrate small victories with the fashion, getting nice Lolita shoes, acquiring a dream dress. Just be happy with small victories. Again, nobody's going to bust out with their first like $500 completed outfit. It takes time to build up. Be nice to yourself. And when you make a small victory, be happy in those small victories. So, and if things get challenging, remind yourself of why this fashion makes you happy. There are times when you'll need it. So that's my tips for self-esteem. Make sure, you know, you're in a good place mentally so you can refute a lot of the bullshit that you're going to come across within this fashion. I had this discussion a few Lolita vlogs ago. People have their own creepy agendas for stuff, and you're going to run into a lot of elitism, because by nature of Lolita being a fashion-oriented hobby, you're going to just get, well, I can afford Angelic Pretty right off the rack, and I can fit into Angelic Pretty right off the rack. Therefore, I am the greatest fucking thing since God created the sun. And no, you're just a shitty person who's trying to inflate their sorry, pathetic little ego by making others feel bad. And if that's how you want to make yourself, how you want to boost your pathetic ego, you need to get some serious psychological help, because that shit ain't, one, it's not cute, it's not helpful, and you fucking suck. So just remind yourself of the things that make you happy and stick to those things, and stick with people who are going to support you, which brings me into sunny point number 2, surviving harsh judgments, with the caveat of who is being judgmental. Is it friends? Is it a romantic partner? Is it family? Are they close relatives? Are they distant relatives? So I'm going to touch on all of those, although I mushed them all together. So, how to deal with judgy friends. And I will put a link in the description, because it comes from this article that I found, some life hack, I don't even know, how to deal with judgmental people. So it says, it says don't take anything personally. I'll post a link to that. I'm not going to read from that. But basically, when you come across a friend or a romantic partner and they're just like, oh, you're just like a freak. It's like, first of all, check and figure how long have you known this person. If you haven't known them long and they didn't know this was part of who you were, sit and ask them, like, what the fuck is up with that? Like, why are you being mean, basically? I'm not saying you gotta be like, the fuck is your problem? It would probably help, but just be like, why are you being mean to me? Like, just ask the question and see what they say and see where it's coming from, what place it's coming from. Because it's either coming from a place that's a concern for your safety, which is what happened to me. The lady in question is concerned for my safety because that was an overarching theme in her diatribe that she sent me. It was like, you're not safe, there's so many crazy people out there. Dude, I could be in a pair of jeans and a bummy t-shirt and it would still be crazy people. Me being dressed the way I am has no bearing on people not being crazy and not doing fucked up shit. So that's, the way you dress is irrelevant to that. But she was coming from a place of concern, and her concern led her over a very deep end of a pool that I can't bring her back from. So but I understand where her place of concern was coming from. If somebody's just being mean to just be mean, this might be something like some underlining trait, like embarrassment, like me and my husband were talking about when me and my husband were talking about Lolita, that they feel embarrassed some kind of way. They feel embarrassed being with you when you're in Lolita, and that's a whole other thing. I'm so sorry that the video for that, the sound is really low, because my husband makes a lot of really valid points, and he says, like, you shouldn't be with a partner, a romantic partner, or a friend who's not going to support you in your endeavors. So no matter how weird they may seem to you, you have to come to some kind of symbiosis of, okay, well, this might not be my cup of tea. Because my husband, I've taken him to meetups. I don't dress him in OG. He just goes in his work clothes. So, and he's fine with it. He gets a little bored sometimes because we don't have like deep philosophical discussions at meetups. But as a whole, he doesn't get all, he's not embarrassed by me, which that's what you want in a friend, or even definitely in a romantic partner. So, but look for the warning signs, like they're doing the just kidding, you look like a freak, just kidding argument or defense. And if they like putting others down, or it's something weird there, and it's up to you to make that judgment call to see where it's going to go, especially depending on how long you've known them. If it seems like something's wrong, listen to, because that's what I have here, listen to your inner monologue. If they've always been unsupportive, and just start making steps to GTFO out of that situation, because it's not going to get any better. And you're trying to be happy, do something that makes you happy. You're not trying to please them. And if they think your job is to please them, there's something fundamentally wrong with your relationship. So be it friend, be it like a friend relationship or a romantic relationship, there's like a fundamental divide there. And you need to start trying to figure out how you're going to start distancing yourself from that kind of toxicity. Because it's not beneficial to you in the long run. And it's unsustainable in the long run. So again, to thine own self be true. So how to deal with judgy family. So most of the stuff in here comes from Psychology Today. I just tailored it to match the Lolita narrative. So it says, close and distant family, caveat: family is a bit more difficult to navigate depending on the dynamic. I don't know what your family dynamics are. That is for you to make that assessment. Genetics determine bloodlines, but love and healthy emotional support is what makes a family, which is, I can't put it more succinctly than that. As I've said, I have been, up until yesterday, have been in a situation where I never had to deal with judgment from family or friends or anything like that. I have never had to sit there and try to defend myself as to being a Lolita until yesterday. And again, it's been 2000, that's 18 years. So if I could go a good 18 years before running into a situation, I'm doing real fucking good. So, but not everybody has that fortune. Not everybody has that ability. So, always surround yourself with people who are going to love and accept you for you. If you have to distance yourself from your family, then so be it. But again, that is not me to make that judgment call for you. You have to take that and assess that for yourself. So, here's what Psychology Today says. These are the steps in dealing with judgmental family members. And I wrote down all of these. Now, some of these have examples. The last 3 don't. So we're just going to go through all the examples of what to do. So it says, they say diplomatically set boundaries. To respond assertively and diplomatically with I and it statements. So the examples for this are, why do you dress like that? I enjoy the fashion. Why do you waste good money to dress like Little Bo Peep? First of all, I don't see a fucking sheep within 500 blue fucking miles of me, but whatever. I use the money I earn to buy the things that bring me joy. That's the example for that one. And the last one, I wouldn't be caught dead in clothes like that. It's not a fashion for everyone, but I very much enjoy it. So, and they said, why you're using I in its statement, you're using I in its statements because they are harder to outright disagree with. You are exercising your own choices as an adult. This is harder to do. I have to put this in here. This is harder to do if you're under 18, I know. But even underage, you have the right to express your individuality, which I butchered spelling individuality. I don't know what joint I was smoking or whatever, but I fucked that word up. It was all fucked up. All right. You may just have to toe the line if you're under 18. Like, you have to play the game basically until you're old enough to get out and strike out on your own. But you have the right to express yourself through clothes. So, especially if you're underage and you're working a job and you're saving up to buy your own shit. No. You have the right to express yourself individually. So, just keep on doing what you're doing and just toe the line till you can get the hell out of Dodge. This is another one that they said on Psychology Today. Say thank you to end the discussion. Examples. You need to dress your age. I am comfortable with my clothes. Thank you. Like, just leave it like that. Like, I'm comfortable in my clothes. Thank you. And just see, for me, the thank you ones are kind of hard because I know I would get mad, snarky. I'd get snarky as fuck. So try to keep the snark to a minimum. But yeah, who is going to take you seriously if you dress like that? Thank you. I appreciate your concerns for my well-being. So, and in the last example, you'll never get married if you're dressed like that. I had, not in Lolita, but I had one of my bosses tell me this shout this literally in the middle of the office. No wonder, Adrian, you're not married because you're weird. Do you know how bad I had to choke down? No wonder you're divorced because you're a big raging bitch. I had to choke that shit down. I literally had to choke that retort down because it almost came out my mouth and I had to stop myself like, Adrian, you're at work. Do not get fired on some shit. So I left that job, but yeah, I've had shit like that happen. So just say, I'm okay with things the way they are, but thank you. So I thought I should have said to her, I just let it go. I just got quiet. It was like, you lucky I can't clap back at your ass. Because if I could, your feelings might be a little bit hurt. So the reason behind this idea is to stop the unwanted advice. It's trying to be I'm trying to help you. No, you're trying to bring me down under the guise of helping. You're not helping. You're just being an asshole. So, stop yourself. So, the idea is to stop unwanted advice. Be polite but firm. Make it known you don't want to keep talking about this. Another one was change the subject. If that doesn't work, go to somebody who you know is a sympathizer to your plight and change the subject with them. So, and usually when you're in those kind of situations, you have the family member that be, and she dressed like an asshole. Like, actually, if you're the one that's being the supportive person, i.e. the ally in that, like, aren't they dressed like an asshole? Like, technically, the only one being an asshole here is you. It would be helpful if somebody else stood up for you that way, but you want to try to be pragmatic as possible. And sometimes pragmatism doesn't work because it says, lastly, if all else fails, it's okay to walk away. You can just walk away from somebody. You can literally walk away from them while they're, like, especially if they're talking shit. I just say walk away, because then they'll be standing there with their mouths wide fucking open, and you'll be like, yeah, I walked away because you were being a dumbass, and I am perfectly within my right to do that. So, if you're underage, that's a little bit harder. Just be like, excuse me, I have to go over here now, or like something to that effect. So, to paraphrase The Simpsons, it's the children who are wrong. It's the asshole being an asshole who is wrong. So, you don't have to deal with that. And the last thing on this subject is what I have termed the unwinnable argument, which is what it devolved into yesterday. What happened when I tried to explain my situation, my plight, and everything else was, it basically boiled down to the fact that she was dug into her position completely, like a tick in a skin lesion dug in, and she will stay completely a tick dug in to her argument. I am not engaging in that. Basically, I gave her all the facts that I have at my disposal. I told her how long I had been in the fashion. I told her how we protect one another from creepy people in unwanted situations. I told her about all the myriad of places on God's green earth that I have dressed up. Philadelphia, New York City, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Richmond, Virginia, Tokyo, Japan, and Mannheim, Germany. And I forgot Leinfeld and Escherdingen, because after we came back from the convention, we went to dinner, and this literal outfit was what I had on. So I have dressed in Lolita all around the fucking globe, and it doesn't stop me. Nothing. I've never had a bad experience. I can count, well, I won't say I never had a bad experience, because I've had people snicker. When the last time I went to tea with a friend, it was just me and her. Some dude just straight up was laughing, and I was just like, fuck that asshole, he don't know nothing about me. And I had a couple of girls when I was in Philly, when I went to the tea party I threw up there, they were sniggering all stupid, and it's just like, again, eat the inside of my whole entire ass, because you don't fucking know me. And then one time we had a meet up here in Tampa, and it was an adult meeting, and we were leaving. I was with my husband, I don't think we were married yet, and my sister-in-law. And these two, I just remember they were real fat. They were going to the club, and they were dressed in club gear. And not to talk about people, because at the time I was chubby, but they looked a hot, gross mess. They barely fit in their clothes, and they were tacky as hell. And I'm like, at least I'm not fucking tacky. I'm not looking like I'm selling something nobody wants. So, because ain't nobody want that. They looked a hot ass mess, and they had a lot of shit to say to me, and I was just like, I don't give a fuck about you heifers, because again, I don't look like I'm selling something that nobody wants. So you have to have that kind of confidence. But I've never had like an instance where I was in Lolita where I wanted to stop. My rules for stopping anything is I either no longer like it or no longer can afford it. And if I can't afford it, we have to wait until we can swing back to be able to afford it. And we'll just keep it moving. But if I don't like something or can't afford it, then that's pretty much where it is. So none of my hobbies that I've ever had, I have ever, with maybe the exception of cosplay. I kind of let cosplay go just because I fell in love with Lolita and that took over my life. But just don't ever stop doing something, and don't engage in the unwinnable argument with people. I know we're passionate about our hobby. Let's keep it in perspective. This is a hobby. This is not something to wage World War fucking 3 over. This is something we do to make ourselves feel good. If people don't get it, they just don't fucking get it, and they just never fucking will. It is not for you to engage people in a pointless debate when they're dug in like a tick to their position. You just have to walk away from the argument, which is exactly what I did. And no, it's not what you want to hear. Well, I'm going to fight. You are free to waste your breath. You'd be better off screaming at a fucking brick wall than somebody who is dug into a position of just, it's not good for you to do. Stop engaging in these unwinnable arguments with people and just move on. It's okay to disagree, agree to disagree. It's perfectly acceptable. In fact, that's the mature way to handle something, to agree to disagree. It is not okay to sit there and argue back and forth. If somebody says something negative and like, not defamatory, but just disparaging, walk away. Just do what you can. And they have the information, and they're going to do with that information whatever the fuck they want. It's not going to matter what you say or do. It's just, people come with their own biases. People come with their own baggage and shit. People come with their own hard opinions. You just got to be the one to be the adult and walk away. And trust me, I don't like being the adult because I've never at any point since I turned 18, well, except maybe the year I turned 18, considered myself an adult. It's just like, kind of like The Simpsons. I've never been called an adult before. I've been tried as one. But, I mean, I hate being the adult because I'm, like, sometimes so wildly irresponsible. But, you can't engage people that are just dug into these positions. Just, like, here's some information. This is all I know about it. And just let the chips go where they gonna go. So, half an hour. Sorry. But, yeah, I just wanted to let you all know in case there was, like, any whispers. Not that I'm that popular, that I think I'm even close to being that popular where I have to really have, like, these statements. But I just, in case it ever got out, like, well, Achan has a family member that's blah, blah, blah. You're getting it from the horse's mouth that she's not a blood relative, but she has been nice to me. So, and I had to, tell her what she said was wrong. We engaged in discourse. The end result was agree to disagree, and that's just where it is. So, and I also wanted to give you guys the information that if you have family members that do any of those examples, that have any of that stuff to say, now you know how to deal with it. I will post links to the one article, how to deal with judgmental people, as well as the Psychology Today article, and just keep on being what I always say. Continue to be the weird and wonderful you that you are, and never let anyone dissuade you from that. So, I got dressed up. I got makeup on, and I just needed to get that off my chest. But like I said, as Catherine the Great went into battle in military regalia, so shall I. She is my goddamn heroine, and I will love that chick for the rest of my life for her strong arm tactics. So, but that is all I have, and I will probably be doing the unboxing for Butterfly Princess tomorrow, because it's actually DHL. They never sent me an update, but DHL has it listed that the outfit got into Tampa today. So I guess they had to drive it from Cincinnati. I don't even know, but it's in Tampa. Now we just got to wait for it to get to me. So we'll probably be doing that sooner rather than later. So that's all I have, and I will see y'all very soon, okay?